If you want to create stunning AI art with a simple text prompt, chances are you've heard of Midjourney. It is regarded as the best image generator in the market at the moment, and it's quite easy to use once you get through a few steps. Now here's how you can get started. You want to head to midjourney.com. You'll be greeted with a screen like this, at least at the time of recording. It may be a little different, but we head down and click Join the Beta. Now you'll be taken to Discord, and if you don't have an account, all you need to do is actually just follow the prompts here, answer a few questions, and you'll be signed up. But if you already have an account like I do here, all you need to do is to accept the invite, and you'll be taken to a screen like this. And on the left, you'll notice this little sort of ship icon here. That is the Midjourney server where you can go to start generating art. So if I click on this Midjourney symbol, I can come down to one of these newbie rooms here. Now there is an issue. If I simply start typing and enter, it says a subscription is required. Because at the moment, Midjourney does not do free trials due to just the sheer volume of accounts that were abusing the system. So you do instead need to go /subscribe, hit enter, and you get a link here saying you can manage your account. I then trust Midjourney and visit the site. And here's where you can basically choose a plan. It could be yearly billing or monthly billing and start from there. Now, if you're not sure what to choose, if you want to have a play around, $10 a month is fine. However, for most people, I recommend the $30 a month plan simply because you can turn on relax mode and you will have unlimited generations when using relax mode. So essentially, even though you have a limited amount of fast generations, you can produce as many images as you want when switched to relax mode, which we will touch on in a little bit. Because keep in mind, this can get very addictive once you start because it is such a fun thing to play with. So when you're ready, hit subscribe, and then you'll simply go from there. So now I've come back to my Discord, but this is a different account, so I've got a whole bunch of other buttons here. So I will explain this to you so it's not going to be too confusing, but essentially if I scroll down, I've got my Midjourney tile here, which is the boat and the sails. If I click on that, I can go to one of the newbie rooms and start. But now this is what Midjourney recommends, but it's not what I recommend, because what happens is you type in imagine and your image and you get started and it just gets lost in the sea of art that's being created. It's very difficult to keep track of. So what I recommend is actually, if you're on a computer, find the Midjourney bot in this conversation and click on it. If you're on your phone, tap the icon. And if you're on your phone, there should be a button there to message the bot. Otherwise, I go up here to view profile and I click send message. So now I'm actually in a message conversation with the Midjourney bot. I've got my own images. No one else is in here. I'm not going to lose track of what it is that I'm doing. But after I start using this, if I ever want to come back to it now, all I need to do is go up to the top left to direct messages. And there's a Midjourney bot here that I can go to, and then it's like a little private conversation between me and the bot where I generate my images. So all I need to do now to start is type in /imagine. I hit space and the word prompt appears. So I'm going to type in dog with sunglasses. You put in whatever it is you want to see here, hit enter, and after a few moments, you get this grid of 4 images. And you probably want to know how to get one of these images out because you don't really want a grid of 4 images. So you have these buttons here for upscaling and for varying. So the way it works is if I want to upscale this top right one here, the way it works, the order goes from left to right. So this is image number 1, image number 2, image number 3, and image number 4, and the buttons reflect that. So this is the top left image for 1, the top right image for 2, bottom left for 3, bottom right for 4. I want to upscale number 2, which is on the top right, so I'll click upscale 2, and we have our image. So I'll show you how to download these in a little bit, because if I simply click here or right click, I'm not going to get the full resolution image. So we're going to get to that later. But essentially I've upscaled my image and I'm pretty happy with it. But these other buttons also serve a purpose. For one, let's say I like number 2, but I want to see some slight variations. I can go to V for variations. U is for upscale, V is for variations, and I can click variations 2. And now these 4 images have been made based upon version 2 because I hit variations 2. The other thing too is if I want to vary, I can come up here to the actual image after I've upscaled it and I can vary strong or vary subtle. This vary region is a bit different. I'll touch on that. But the way it works is if I hit, say we've got image number 2 here and I vary strong, I'll also hit vary subtle. Strong means it's going to have a much more higher rate of variance, so it's going to look a lot different. Subtle means it's going to be a subtle difference. So we'll come down. This is our very strong, so it has varied strongly from the second image. And this is our varies subtle. You can notice the image looks pretty similar across the board, and although there are mild differences, the variations are only subtle. So we'll come back to that, but before we go any further, let's get back to our original image grid by scrolling up. We've upscaled number 2, we've run a bunch of variations of number 2, but what if we want something completely different? Again, we want Midjourney to reattempt what it is we put in there. So a dog with sunglasses, I hit this button here. It's essentially a re-roll, which allows me to try again. So I click the re-roll button, and we have a completely different set of images this time because we've re-rolled and asked for something new. So the next thing is what happens if we're not happy with the shape. We found an image we like, but the aspect ratio is not right. If you go into your Midjourney account at some point, if you learn how to check that out, which I will go through later, you'll notice there's all these different shapes of images. You're probably wondering how that works. So I'm going to take my dog with sunglasses, I'm going to copy that, come down to / imagine, hit space, so my prompt appears, paste in my prompt of a dog with sunglasses, but this time I'm going to type in space, --AR for aspect ratio, so --AR for aspect ratio, space again, and then I want to type in a number for the horizontal width and then the number for the vertical height. So if I wanted it to be the same shape as a TV, which is 16 units wide by 9 units tall, I would go 16:9. If I want an image that is 3 times as tall as it is wide, going horizontal first, I go 1:3, making it 1 unit wide by 3 units tall. But we're going to create an image that's 16:9 to match a TV size. But on the screen right now, I'm just showing you a few different sort of aspect ratios you can use. You can essentially put any number in you want, but these are just a good sort of way to, a good reference for you to use. But coming back to Midjourney, imagine, prompt, dog with sunglasses, 16:9, and enter. Keep in mind, if you want to use your phone for this process, you can download the Discord app and then log in with the account you signed up with and use your phone for this as well. And now you can see where our images were square before, we've now basically got a fresh prompt, but they're rectangular like a television. So we can actually change the aspect ratio of our images pretty easily. I'm actually going to upscale 2 of these this time. So 1 and 2. And you can upscale all of these. You don't have to choose one. You can upscale the whole lot. But I'm going to show you a few of these features. Once we have upscaled our image, we have a few options. We've checked out very strong and very subtle because we've added variations to our image. And I will come back to vary region. But for now, we have some options. We can zoom out. I can zoom out twice as far or just a little bit. So I'm going to zoom out twice as far on this one. So zoom out by 2. So we have another grid of images. However, you might notice now we've zoomed out a fair bit. I come up, and before where we were cropped at the top of the head and only had about a little bit of width, we now have all this space around. Now this does not increase the image. It actually shrinks the original image down. So you get an image that's the same resolution as before essentially. So you do lose a bit of detail. But I mean, if you have a photo editor like Photoshop, you can always kind of put those two together. That is a topic for another video. But I can also just zoom out by 1.5. And there you can see our zoom out is a little more subtle. Compare this to that, where it's zoomed out a lot. Now we're just zoomed out a small amount. So it can be useful to zoom out. You can also do a custom zoom. The idea being that I can change my prompt and even the aspect ratio. So if I decided I wanted to change it around and make it say 2:3, which is a completely different aspect ratio, I can submit. And you can see it's zoomed out, but it's changed the entire shape of the image. And in many cases added the dog within the dog, which is an interesting side effect sometimes of zooming out aggressively. But you can see how using the custom zoom, you can take a little bit more control over the image you're creating. But there's still more to it. I can also click on this image and simply click make square. And you can see how it's extended the top and bottom, added some blue on these ones, and made it into a square image, even though it wasn't before. So those are some of your options for changing, sort of zooming out, changing the aspect ratio once you have an image you like. But there's still a few more options. So let's scroll past and come up to this image here. We've gone through vary, we're going to come back to region. We've zoomed out, we've made everything square, but now we have these pan buttons. These two here, basically, this opens the image in a web browser. This just allows me to react with a love heart. So these are kind of not really that useful, unless you can find a use for it yourself personally. But I can actually take this image and pan left or right, or pan up and down. Once I select horizontal, I can then only continue to pan in that direction on those images. I'll show you what I mean. But we've got a dog here, the head looks good, and I want to see more of the dog's body. So I can click pan down, and it will extend the image and actually not shrink it this time. I can click down on this image. Notice it's being cut off just below the chin. And now we've got some options. Again, some funny objects showing on some of these, but ultimately, we've been able to extend our image downward by panning up and down. And we can continue to pan, but this is where you'll notice if I upscale number 2, I now only have up and down. So the way it works is if I pan left or right, I can continue to pan after I've made that image, but I can only go either on the horizontal or the vertical. Individually, I can't go both ways. But if I decide that I want to keep going, I can pan up on this image. And now it's actually panned upwards, and I've been able to extend the image both downwards and up. And this has added to the image. It hasn't shrunk the original like it did with Zoom. So we actually end up getting larger images when working this way as well, which is pretty interesting. So we can upscale any one of these and use that if we want to. I really like number 2 again, so I'll upscale number 2, and now we have our image. And now we're going to go back. We're going to look at that vary region. But you'll notice that the vary buttons are gone because we've panned this image. So once we pan an image, we do lose some of our options. So I'm going to scroll back up to one of our original square images. We have these ones here. I'm going to upscale number 1 by clicking U1. As you can see, we have our options here that we had before. Now we're going to explore vary region. So what this enables me to do is actually change parts of the image. So I'm going to click on vary region, and what I can do is select, say, the nose of the dog and hit submit. And it's generated a new nose in each of these 4 images, but kept the rest of the image the same. But what I'm going to do is actually come back, because what we're going to do is be able to do something a bit more with that. So what I'm going to do is go into /settings. If I go into /settings, I get a bunch of options here, which I'll very quickly go through with you. I hit enter. And you see we've got some options. Where it says use the latest model, I can change to a different version of Midjourney to get different results. So this is the most advanced and latest model. The Niji model is actually an anime model, but if you want to, you can go through, and version 4 is when images started looking probably their best, when things were looking a little more abstract with these older versions down here. So you can change that at any time and have fun with it. Now there's other options here like raw mode or stylize. I'm not too concerned about that right now. You can ignore these for now. However, I do have a video on my channel which goes through stylize. But what we want to do is turn on remix mode. So I'm going to click remix mode. And this time, when I go back up to our dog and I go vary region, I'm going to undo up here. And I've gotten rid of the nose I've selected. And what I'm going to do is now I can actually use a lasso if I want to and just select a shape like this. And where it says dog with sunglasses, I can put toothy grin, big smile, teeth. And I don't know if it's going to look any good, but it should change only this area. Because now I have remix mode turned on, I can change the text in here. I hit the little arrow to submit it. And now you can see how he's smiling with his mouth open. There's a little bit of teeth in there, especially this one. So that using remix mode, turning that on means that you can have a bit more control over that option. But scrolling back up again, we're back with our original grid. Now that I have remix mode turned on, if I click on the re-roll button, this doesn't work as well with images that have been used in the vary region box we just used. But if I click this on our original grid, I can change the prompt. I can change the aspect ratio and add more commands on here. I can add in styles and things like that. So I'm going to close that off for now. And also the same goes if I decide to vary number 3. I click V3. I can still change the prompt as well. So having remix mode on allows you to take a bit more control over adjusting your prompt and the results you get. Now, before we go any further, if you find you're using up a lot of your hours and you're on the $30 a month plan, again, type in /settings. you can switch to relax mode and you will have unlimited generations as long as you are on that $30 a month plan or more, and you can basically create unlimited images, and it's only slightly slower. Fast mode is the default. I'm actually using turbo because I'm recording a video, and the quicker it works, the better. So you've got a few different speed modes here. This does cost more per generation. Fast mode is the standard. Relax mode is basically unlimited as long as you have that $30 a month plan or more. Let's take things a step further. We're going to go to /imagine again, hit space so our prompt appears, type in a dog with sunglasses. However, this time we want to add a style to it. So if I add in here, I can add in black and white ink drawing and add a style to that, because we don't want to just put what we want to see. We also want to describe the image's style and layout in order to get a better result. I hit enter, and you now see how we've created a black and white ink drawing. And if you want to explore more Midjourney styles, there is a link in the description below, but I'll also pop a card at the end of this video so you can check out some Midjourney styles that are really, really fun to play with. But otherwise, it's essentially the prompting side of things. But if you are looking to make sure you haven't used up too much of your actual time on your plan, type in /info. But if you're looking to actually find out how many of your hours you've used so you can start to manage your time on here and not run out of GPU time, and therefore you can't create generations in fast mode, type in /info and you will get some information about your hours. So you can see I have 13.15 of my 15 hours remaining. Lifetime usage, I've created 15,000 images, and I can get a bit of information about my account and what I'm up to at the moment. Also, if you want to know all of the commands, there's so much in Midjourney. I actually have a cheat sheet, which I'll link to below, that you can download. It has all of the commands and all of the parameters and models you can use. So that is a link to in the description below, and it can be printed in black and white, and is very useful if you're still needing to reference some of this information when using Midjourney. And also there is a playlist in the description below which runs through all of my tutorials. So if you're really looking to deep dive and learn a lot about Midjourney, check that out also. But moving on, what if you want to download your images? We've created a bunch of images, we've explored the options. How do we download our images? We have here an image I've generated earlier. If I click on that, if I simply right click here to download, it will not be the full resolution. What I need to do, and this is one of many options, is to click open in browser. If you're on your phone, you may need to sort of tap the image and save it through there. But if I now have the full resolution image open in a new browser tab, this is 1024 by 1024. If I change the aspect ratio, the amount of pixels in the image is kind of the same. So it ends up being around the same resolution regardless of what aspect ratio you create. But I can simply right click and save this image as. However, there is a better way to do this and download images in bulk. This time when I head to midjourney.com, it takes me directly to my account because I'm actually logged in now. And you can see the images we've been creating. I can click on one of these, and you can see there's a little floppy disk icon. I can save the image directly there, download it to my computer. But there's actually a better way of doing it. If I want to download multiple images, I go up the top here to my little arrow symbol, click on that, and I can select multiple images and come down to open downloader. You see here I've got 4 images. It'll download them all into a zip file. But there's actually a way to download even more bulk than that. So let's go up top here and turn this off. You see it says 4 because I have 4 images selected. I'm going to click that button and now it's unselected those images. But I'm going to come down here to archive. This is an archive of all the images I've created. It's got the last 12 months, so I joined up in last August. I can go right back to the 19th of August or the 20th of August 2022 and see the images I created then, which are definitely not as good as the images Midjourney creates now, but they do have a sort of a style of their own. But I can click into any part of the year, it could be June, download some of these images, or I can download in bulk. And the way that works, if I want to download today's images, I can just go over to this plus symbol, which is next to the date, and select that day. I can scroll down. If I don't want that day, I can scroll down to this day and hit select, go to open downloader, and now I've got 3 zip files it'll prepare. One with 71 images for the 28th of August, one with 11 images, and one with 5 images. So I can download entire days worth of images or even months if I'm willing to download several different zip files. So I can download these all onto my computer and keep them for future reference. So that's how I can bulk download with Midjourney as well. But otherwise, that should be enough to get you started with Midjourney. Like I said, check out my channel. I've got tons of videos on Midjourney with tutorials, styles. I've got some links in the description below, which I think you might find very relevant as a next step. Otherwise, check out my Midjourney prompt cheat sheet. It will give you some information you can refer to very quickly and easily. But also, I highly recommend once you're logged in here, heading into the Explore tab on the top left, and you can also check out what other people have created. You can see the images, and if you decide you want to try one of these, you can click on something like this, and you have some options. You click on these three little dots. You can copy the prompt or the full command, which includes all the little codes and parameters that come with it, and you can then paste that into Midjourney and try it for yourself. So you have all these different options you can try, and you can explore other people's artwork and try and see what they've said. We've got full body of and legs, quality, photogenic image, abstract painting, time synthesis, romanticism, 4K, hyper quality. So you can essentially use these as guides. And like I said, add in what you want to see, add in a style. If you want certain colors, add in the colors. You can make that prompt pretty much as long as you want, as long as it's not a novel, and you'll get some more control over your image, even photographic looking images like this one. All you need to do is head in there and have a play. So I hope that was a video that helped you get started, experiment, have fun with it. And otherwise, if you want more, check out one of the videos on the screen right now or the links in the description below. And I hope to see you again soon. Have a great day.